Tour team, welcome back to Alessandria. Not a lot has happened since we were last here. I went around, did some health checks, checked up on some lines, had a look at what was happening, made sure that quite a lot of things were sort of still functioning the way they should be functioning, but really just housekeeping, and spent a bit of money on replacement things, which is why my earnings is in the negative. Although you can see my total balance is very healthy. So with not a lot happening, there's a couple of things. First, I haven't done anything with this steel, but that said, the steel is right here, and the beauty with the steel is that this steel plant is right over here. So what we can do is, do you remember this extra platform that I put here and said there's a bit of future proofing? So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to run these lines in, and we got to do a little bit of magic jiggery pokery, because we're going to want the timber trucks in particular, I call them trucks, timber trains, to come all the way over um, and bypass. Or do we? Do we? Because I always tend to get this wrong, because I think backwards compared to most normal humans. So actually, the timber probably wants to come in to where it's currently sitting, and the ore probably wants to come into the other and then go back out. So we need to change the jiggery pokery so the ore trucks can go on the outside and then leave, and then the timber trucks can pass straight through without having to do any jiggery pokery, and then they can come through here and drop off. And when the steel comes up, we can probably do something to get the steel to do the same. It means you end up with these kind of crazy complex points systems in here, which just is what it is. And then that will come over and that will start producing machines, which is very handy because Civitella wants machines, and it's just there. So we're going to need to play around with the roads, because we want the station to line up in a fairly sensible way, because we want stuff to come in. It's probably going to have to loop back out to join this line, because these fields are already over there, and there's no easy way to join up here, I think, without destroying those farmers' fields, and I don't think they're going to like that. So that's a little something to do, just a little project. It's not very complicated. You probably don't need to wait around. You've seen it a million times. It just requires me to do a little bit of jiggery pokery, and that's okay. Now then, we're talking about plastics, and we're talking about oil, and we're talking about this oil field expanding and everything else, and I think I've been tinkering around with this, and I have been looking at this, and I feel like I said, I think backwards to everybody else. So let's have a look over here. We'll do a little explanation of how these production things work, because I've just sort of finally understood it. So I think it's probably important that you should understand it. If you're not playing the game and you just want to know and it's just of interest, that's fine. If you are playing the game, or you're picking up the game and you're finding it a little bit confusing, then maybe this will help. So when you click on the main production, you'll see that they have their production value. In this case, it is 1200, and it says shipping 800 of 1200, right? And we talked about that, and I talked about that in relation to the fuel earlier. So this says that he's capable of producing 1200, and he is producing 1200, but only 800 of it is going to market. That means only 800 of it will ever end up being down here somewhere. Now the reason that is because we're supplying this guy over here. Now this guy is consuming 500. You can see that the consumption says 506. So he is pulling in 506 to produce 253. Now, normally that would be very similar to this. But for some reason it's a little bit higher. It says 800. I don't really know why it's 800 because we're not shipping oil anywhere else. I don't really fully understand why it would be 800 and not 500. That is a little bit weird. Anyway, he is then shipping that stuff over here. This guy is consuming 177 and he's producing 177. And he's shipping 176. Where is he shipping the 176? Well, we've now got 3 fuel lines operating. We've got Castelvecchio to Santa Caesarea, which you've seen before. We've got Civitella, which I think you've seen before. So we are... we're shipping fuel. Are we shipping fuel all the way to Civitella? Or are we dropping it off here at this hub? I can't remember. Anyway, I need to look into that. Anyway, we're shipping it down there. And I've added another one, which is Uzano, because we connected all these together, and I was like, well, you know what? All I have to do is actually, if you ship it down here, it's automatically picked up at this cargo depot anyway. So we're already loading the place up. We've already got trucks on the go. We're already supplying, Uzano. So we may as well just supply them some more. So they're now, because they could do with more. They could do with more. So that's the system, right? And this number here, this 177 that he's producing, is based on the cumulative current needs of these places. So 47 there plus 151, that's 198 plus he wants another 184, so that's what, 200, 380 something. So we need to make 380 something. We're currently only making 177. Now, I'm not quite sure how it does. Well, the thing is, how can I explain this? So, the amount that this refinery produces depends on how many suppliers you have lined up. So, currently speaking, that 380 something, if I can supply this with enough oil, this thing will keep going up until it can produce 380 something to supply the needs, right? At the minute, the issue is I can't supply enough of this stuff currently because the rate at which production is, and it's a 2-to-1, so he's consuming 500, but he's only making 253. So if I wanted to make, this is a 1-for-1, if I wanted to make 381, I need to get this to 381, which means I need 760 coming off here. And currently, where is my line? It is the Santa Sea fuel. Santa Sea oil. I've got 3 trucks carrying 7. 126, so 300. So they should be able to do it. 126 times 3 is 370 something. So we should be able to supply this, hopefully, with enough stuff to supply that, to supply enough to fill everybody else. The thing is with this is that, the thing is with this is, it also depends somewhat on frequency and various other bits and pieces and how things go out. But I'd always assumed, wrongly, that it was to do with the amount that you produced here. and that the more that this had like a finite limit, and it does when you get to level 5. It won't go any higher, but level 5 is probably massive. So this is by no means full. So there's no point creating a new oil field up here until all of the demand out of here is met down here, and then all of this is shipped there, and then all of that demand is met somewhere else. And that's how the chain works, trying to manage that expectation between supply and demand and everything else. So this was down at the low. This was only what was it, level 1 not too long ago, and then I added another route, and that created sufficient amount of demand to make this level 2. And because we're running enough trucks, they were bringing enough stuff in here to create enough oil to bring it over here to push this up. And because the demand in the cities is still high, this is just going up. So my hope is that this will continue to go up. And also, we are gonna change something, because we are gonna bring plastics in here. So we're gonna create an additional demand off here for plastics. And when you create an additional demand, you don't remove from what is already produced. You induce them to produce more. So that's how the dynamic industry is working on the map. So it's not a case of saying I'll max this out before I produce anything, or before I demand any more oil. It's the fact that you demand more oil causes this to produce more oil, right? So that's probably it in a nutshell as far as the industry goes. The demand drives the production. It's not the supply driving the sales. Japers, if that makes sense to you. So, and we've got another opportunity coming up here. This complicated construction industry place has finally folded. They were trying to produce expensive bespoke goods for luxury houses, and it didn't pan off because the people of Alessandria know smoke and mirrors when they see it. So they decided, you know what, we're not going to waste any more time with you people, and they never really purchased from them anyway. So that industry is folding. However, because that industry is folding, the food manufacturing owners have seen an opportunity because they're currently purchasing food from this wealthy property developer that owns all these now luxury, look at this thing, now luxury apartments in the city. So they're like, well, you know what? This land has become available at a rock bottom price. So what they're going to do is they're going to purchase this land here, and they're going to grow their own crop, and they're going to supplement the production here with crop from there so that they can supply Castle Vecchio and places abroad. So they've reached a deal with this guy because they're buying from him, and this is the way competition works, that they won't be supplying that product to Uzano. All of his product will be manufactured by them and sold exclusively in Uzano, and everything that they grow on their old land will go to Castle Vecchio, and will go to not Santa Caesarea, and Civitella, and that's it. So they're not going to be threatening his market. So as soon as this industry disappears completely, they're going to start establishing a farm over there, which is great, right? They're going to expand their way into a farm, which is just fantastic. So they're going to make that happen, and that'll be good for them, which is great. Now, the multinational mega conglomerate that owns the oil well, the oil refinery, and the fuel refinery, yes, they're all owned by one massive multi-conglomerate. WeEatYourBabies.com. So they've decided that what they are going to do is they're going to invest in a massive industrial park in this wedge of land. So this wedge of land is now going to become a massive industrial hub between Castle Vecchio and Santa Caesarea. It's got links from the waterways. It's got some pretty extensive train links that have already been built by the hydrocarbon industry people. It's got a large road network here. So what they're going to do is they're going to invest heavily in making this whole thing here into a massive, great big industrial area. and then they're going to put a plastics plant in it, and they're going to make the plastics here that can go into making the products elsewhere, right? You want to see what that's going to look like? Ready, steady, abracadabra. Boom. There you go. What do you think? Oh, I don't mind telling you that it took a while. What we're gonna do is why is my HUD filter off the side of my map? That's a bit weird. Yeah, we'll look at it with the HUD filter off. Yeah, here, look at this, look at this, look at this. This took a little while. I don't mind saying. Should we have a little close look around? So let's start off down here. So we did a little bit of modifying with the road, as you can see. So I've taken a stab at making this an official kind of a motorway, as it were, and I put in one of these modified T junctions, and obviously they went to a bit of, um, effort to put a lot of trees in and make this very grandiose and everything else, because they often do when they feel like they're polluting the planet. So anyway, here we are. So it takes us all back up to here, and we have all of this lovely motorway. And I think I did my best with landscaping it the way it probably should look like for a relatively normal motorway. We've got some gravel and scree and everything else and all the rest of it. We've got this lovely looping junction which brings us in here and brings us up the rise into the industrial area. So I guess if we start over here, this was our original oil refinery, so we tidied that up a little bit. I say tidied it up, we messied it up a little bit, and we put in some additional features that make it look a little bit more like a refinery, and we've now done something to detail the station, and I think the station has actually turned out pretty well. It looks pretty good. It looks sufficiently higgle-piggled enough, right, for just a depot station. This wall is a little bit funky. I tried to make it like as much like a concrete wall as I can. I should have leveled the land out before I did the train station and whatnot and everything else. This is another asset. This is an asset that I got with one of the asset packs. There's a couple of weird assets at the back here. One is the mail sorting center and one is the waste management facility. We can use this in the town. There is allegedly an option for it. I've never used it. I haven't seen one for waste, but we'll have a look at those later. But it's certainly, it's another industry. It's another industry to just flesh this out a bit. And I just put this is a road depot. I just put it here to again flesh it out a little bit. So the roads have been laid. Some stuff is being prepared already for businesses that are preparing to move in. And we had to detail the grass, make it look like it's a place under construction, because we won't get industries coming in here that we can do anything with. So over here, did a few bits and pieces. Obviously, did this, a place where they're sorting some gravel, sorting some stuff, getting some pieces together, some areas that have been a little bit, dead, killed. The grass has been disturbed by traffic and whatnot. I did this. This is a cargo hub. Just to put something there that again fills it out. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit of an unusual asset. Does it help? Does it not help? I don't know. I mean, it's something. From a distance, you don't really care. This is the waste management plant, which is fine. It's it looks fairly industrial-esque enough to fit in. And again, we've got some stuff going over on here, a few assets and things. And this is the actual plastics plant that we're actually going to use. I did try and level this out, but it all went a bit hinky at the back, so we'll just ignore that. This is the fairly dedicated train station, which I haven't fully connected up yet. I rejiggered the line. When I did this, this is just a dead area, right? So just detail these areas to make them look a little bit more like what they are, a kind of a dead space of land that's not really going to be used for anything. And sometimes, perhaps they lay rubbish down here and all the rest of it, whatever. Yeah, so I pulled the train track over and fitted it into the train station. but I haven't done anything to actually fully connect this or do any of the lines or anything else like that. There's a road missing here. I didn't realize that. Some of the, I think it's this one, some of the connections uh, break a little when you're doing stuff with the trains and what not. Yeah, so that's probably the major industrial area, and then we put in, like I said, there's a water connection. We put in a big cut here, which takes us down here to the waterfront, and we've put in a large docking area. It only takes small boats, but I did something and dredged a bit of space to make it like a little deeper. We put in a cargo platform because we're probably going to need one if we are shifting plastic by boat, which we might. And just detailed it out, added in some of these little boat sheds, detailed some tracks, put in some rocks because for some reason um, people people who do boats are also obsessed with putting rocks everywhere for some strange reason. I don't know why, but if you've ever hung around any boat places, there's an awful lot of rocks. Not sure why. Anyway, there you go. Look at that. That is a massive industrial area. Big investment. We got this road thing going on. We had to do a few bits and pieces. This took a while, I can assure you. Um, and then over here we did the big farm. So the big farm is coming in, which is great. So they've put the farm in. They're ready to supply this place. I did a little bit of detailing, but I haven't finished here. But I have finished with the farm. The farm's expanding. This Fangorn forest, I've extended out. I don't think anybody's going to use this. It's probably not great land, so we just extended the forest out, and we've got the train track running through the forest, which goes to this whatchamacallit, this farm. So the finished goods can come back this way as well. I don't want them to go this way because I'm eyeballing this for high speed passenger route. So I'm trying to keep as much cargo off this as I can for now, especially up near the top. Yeah, so the usual. We painted in some fields. We put in some asset fields. We did a little bit of mussing around, put some trees around. This is the pattern that comes out with corn, which is a little bit weird, but there you go. Dirt, a field under development being left fallow, whatever. Um, and detailed in the train station, quite a sizable train station. Probably going to need some sizable trucks coming out of here. And yeah, just bits and pieces, bits and pieces. It all turned out pretty well, I think. I think it turned out pretty well. I'm reasonably happy with this. This whole section of the map is turning out quite well. Um, I haven't really finished detailing everything up here, to be fair. But we've got this big station here. We've got this park. We haven't done anything with this. We've done a bit of that. We've done a bit of this. We've done a bit of the other. We've got this massive road. We've got this train station. We haven't done anything with this train station over here yet. But so we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting along here. This is an old industry that's lurking around in here. It's just an old cut, and over to here, which again we haven't finished with that. But we're getting there. We're getting along there. The Uzano station, which was our first, which seems so small by comparison now. We've got this refinery which we dirtied up a bit, which is also looking great. So we are getting there, and that's all well and good. That's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do either. That is what I wanted to do because I wanted to switch all of my icons back on. Probably not the signals because they're a bit of a nuisance. So there you go. There you go. I need to hook this in, and I need to start shifting some oil around. Now, you remember I was telling you in terms of production, and I was saying production is demand led, not supply led. So we're sort of getting there. You can see there's a lot of fuel here now. So Civitella fuel supply is now up to 132, Castelvecchio is 48, and Duzanu is 13. So as the demand is picking up in the towns, specifically Civitella seem to have a bit of a demand for it. We haven't got Civitella up to speed yet. For our first trucks, I guess, have come in, which is great. So this is now producing more. So it's now up to 176. It can probably go more. It's consuming 176, but it's getting there, which means that this place is also trying to produce more. It's at 211 at the minute. Remember, it was at 253, which means that all of this is driving this demand over here, which is currently sitting at somewhat of an excess. So now that the demand is there, the supply is picking up. I need to increase the flow of oil. So the flow of oil is key. We're at 1200 here at the minute, which is fine. And once I start picking up over here, the cycle will keep growing. It'll keep getting bigger and bigger. So we're working on that. We're working on that. We're working on that. So that's a little bit of piece to do. Everything else is sort of in the balance, in the balance, in the balance. Stuff that I need to get together. This one is still, well, it's getting there, but it's getting there slowly, I guess. We need to possibly get some more trucks, shifting some more stuff to dear old Rizzo. So there you go. So I'll deal with setting up this plastics line, get that moving. I will deal with setting up this new food line, and what I want to do is I want Castelvecchio to get the food from over here, and I want the food from over here to be reserved for Civitella, essentially. So it's only going to Civitella, and that'll ease that line up, and it'll ease some train traffic over this way for sure. And once that's together, we need to start thinking about a couple more needs that need to be met. Bricks for Uzano, so we probably need to connect this brick up to Uzano now, because all we need to do is connect up this line, and then we can run bricks up to Uzano, which is probably a good way to go. Whether we can get bricks to Castelvecchio, I'm not sure. It's a long distance trek. Like I said, could we do it by boat? Could we do it by boat? Now we've got this connection, and we can. I don't know. I'll have a think about that one. Santa Caesarea is already getting tools, but we probably need to get Rizzo tools. Given that this tool place is here, I wonder if we might be able to do that by boat. Don't know which quicker. Probably quicker to go to this dock over here. So I don't know. There's a few things to think about, and then when the plastics are underway, we can sort that out. We also still need to get this going, the machines going. So we need to have a look at the timber supply over here and whether we can get these machines developed. So we need to possibly get this connection put in. So there's still a few things to do, still a few things to do, still a few things to do. So let me get on and do some of those things, and we'll see how far we get, and then I'll bring you back and we'll have a look. I'll see you soon. Alright, well, Cure Team, welcome back. Here we are, we're just in free camera mode, we're just looking at downtown Rizzo. You can see that Rizzo's, well, it's growing up a bit. It's turning into a little town. Some interesting little places down here. Big deals. This looks like they've got the biggest deals in town in this little pink shop, haven't they? You really need to get in there for the biggest possible deals in town, for sure. Look at the size of the place. It's a winner chicken dinner. Anyway, here we are. So yeah. So oh gosh, what's happening? I've been around. So let's talk about this, because I did a bit of clunky job explaining, but I think what we got to in the end was an understanding, you and I. in that what I was trying to explain to you was that how how industries level up and scale up and produce more and are therefore demand more and therefore make you more money, etc., is a function of end user demand, not a function of supply. So you don't just keep producing more ad infinitum. You have to have a market for that product. So we have now from here, we are now supplying um, Santa Caesarea with fuel. We're supplying Civitella with fuel. And we're supplying Uzano with top-up fuel. So we've now got three cities that are demanding fuel. Now, because that's true, that demand has been pushing shipment and production up, and it's still on the up. And I think hopefully it won't be too long if we can get production and shipment into that blue bar, which is just over 300. Then then the fuel refinery will go up a level again, which is great. So this has been going up, and it's still going up. You remember when we first looked at it, production was 253, shipping was 253. So this is driven by the demand coming from here. So because we're pushing demand out, and this is going to tip over very, very shortly, because we're pushing product out, we're pushing more product out, the demand is there, we're meeting the demand. As the cities grow, they demand more, which means that we run more trains. So then the trains are supplying more, which then drags this all up and keeps dragging it up. So our oil line is continuing to grow. We're at now. This is still full. This is now at 1800. So you remember it was at 1200. So this is now at 1800. And I just honestly, I keep adding more trains. These are our trains here, and and I can't ship it all. I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make the trains that I have, of which there are. Look at how many trains there are. Oh, some of them are not in great condition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 trains. These 2 are in bad condition, but it's probably just the locos. So we'll just see if we do that. If you do that and it replaces it, it's just the locos, not the carriages, not the wagons. So that saves you a bit of money. It certainly saves me a bit of money. So what I might have to do is these are all 7s. So if I change the wagons that they're using, then we might get more. Now on that, we have had some new style of wagon come in. So we have these tank cars, which go faster. So I've been it's been on my mind, and you can see from the catenary that it has been on my mind. It has been on my mind that what I am thinking of doing is taking some of these slower trains. So this train will do 121, right? And the reason that I didn't want to go to something more expensive was because it didn't really seem to make money with the wagons, because all the wagons did was 120. So we have now down here we have a box car that'll do 160, and a flat car that'll do 160, a gondola that'll do 160, and a tank car that will do 160. So we can now talk about our more profitable lines upgrading to electric. The issue being obviously maintenance. So if you have a look at the, sorry, too far down. If you have a look at the maintenance of this, it's 538,000 a year. So this one will do 140, which that's okay. That's speedy enough. Like that maintenance is 1.91. So we would need to be making 1.5 million a year at least on each vehicle if we wanted to replace it with this. Bearing in mind that obviously the faster it goes, the more it will deliver in a year, etc., etc. So there's a bit of math involved, which I'm so great at. This thing does 200, which is great. We could max out those wagons where we can, but that's 2.9. So we'd have to be making 2.4 million a year to be able to afford the maintenance on that. So that would be a bit of a thing. That's, what did we say? That was 2.9. This is 2.6. So it's not a hell of a lot cheaper. So there you go. So really, and this is 150k, but that's even more expensive. 3.1. This is obviously a mod pack. Pardon me. So I think they all came in on 2000. These things, yeah, from 2000. So I'm thinking that this is our best bet here. Um, Pardon me. And you know that the answer is obviously, well, from my point of view, it's like suck it and see. Do one, replace one, watch it for a year and see what you get. If you wanted to do it mathematically, oh my gosh, mathematically, you know what I'm like mathematically. It'll be somewhere down here because my oil trains make an awful lot of money. So where are we? We were looking at Santa Sea oil. So here you go, Santa Sea oil. So these two. Let's take these two. I don't know where the rest are right now. Um, these are a year old, so these have just been replaced. What have we got here? We got anything a little bit older. We got Santa Sea oil here, 2.2. So that's 2.2. This is 2.25, and this is 2.3. So on a straw average, we're going to say 2.25, right? 2.25, 2.29, 2.3. So let's say 2.5 million. So 2.5 million. So we're making 2.5 million profit on these per year at the speed that they are currently going at. So if we wanted to upgrade that and we were going another 1.4, we'd go, yeah, okay, 1.4. That leaves us with another 1.1 million. And it's likely that if this is going 20 kilometers an hour faster, that let's say we get one extra run in per year. Um, and I think let's say it's doing 2 or 3 runs a year. So that 1.1 million, say add 30% to that. So that's like another 400,000. So yeah, so we should probably easily be able to afford replacing these. And then you can see that we have these larger wagons. So these wagons are now a 20, as opposed to the 18s that we have been hauling. So each of those trains can then haul more faster, and we might even be able to cut down one train depending on the length and the everything else. So I think it's probably profitable from the oil side of things now. I've got so many trains and I'm making so much money and I've got so much demand to make that work. So I think that's all well and good, and I think that's something we can definitely work on. I've been around and I've tweaked a few things and checked a few things. We now have the machines that are rocking out of here, so we're now supplying machines to Civitella, and that is now coming in over here, and you can see that we've dealt with all of our food that has recently come in, but we've got some fuel left, and we've got some machines, which are these little wrapped pallets of stuff. So we're moving stuff. Everything looks terminally slow at normal speed. So that's our coffee supply wandering in, which is fine. We're supplying our place with coffee. And so Civitella's on the grow. Civitella's getting a bit of food, could do with more. It's getting fuel, could do with more. It's getting machines, which is great. So that'll start to develop it. And then we've just got goods left to do. All of this stuff needs a bit of a tweak. I'm keeping an eye on it. More fuel's coming in, more animals. So I might need to add in another one of these animal trains. They carry 162, and there's 163 there now. It might be okay. Our tools doing fine. Again, we've got 3940. This guy's bringing in timber. This is the livestock supply heading off. This is machine steel supply heading off. So this is also doing grand. You can see that we've got the ore wagons still coming in, still delivering, still producing. So that's all well and good. We've just had a load come in. So here comes our little truck, and our little trucks are loading this off to Rizzo, which is looking fine. I haven't done machines to Rizzo yet. So Rizzo's just getting bricks and tools, but it's fairly high in demand for both of those. So maybe I'll be able to get a machines route set up, and then that will increase the demand at the machines factory, so they'll start producing more. I think we're on top of supply, so we're probably okay with that. We then come up here to Uzano. I'm kind of thinking that obviously the next thing I want to do is get this, which is sitting at 200 for production but not shipment. I want to get this connected up to Uzano and start getting bricks to Uzano because it's got food, it's got fuel. We can use this as a cargo depot, so we only need to run the bricks up a couple of stops up here. Which is fine because we're using that as a cargo depot, which is great. So we've got this line here. If we can connect it in here, we can run this little cargo line up here and connect it up. Castle Vecchio, tools and bread are food is what they're getting. They're kind of lagging behind now, but they will go up. They will definitely go up, I think. Now that we've like maxing them out on food and we're doing pretty good at maxing them out on tools, we just need a little something else. The emissions is dragging them down. Bricks or machines, tricky one to say for sure. So they're now being fed from over here. So the original food supply that I was drawing off Santa Caesarea, I have stopped. This place is now manufacturing for Castle Vecchio, and it's being supplied from here. Demand is the production here is quite low. I don't think there's. I think the issue is that these guys are supplying so much to this factory that the factory is not requesting an awful lot from here. It's nothing to do with the and this is not a lot. You know, you saw this. What do they want? Like 44. So this is tiny. So as the demand here increases, then the request for food on here for this particular line will increase, and which will increase off there, I think. But we're also like supplying a ton of stuff from there, like 3 wagons of like 144 each. So that's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're getting what we need to get where we need to get it. So that's where we are, and that's where we've been, and that's what is going on. Just pausing the game momentarily to talk about where to from here. Well, it's getting pretty congested. It's getting pretty congested, but we're nearly there. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. I don't fully think, but I could be wrong because we're supplying food from over here all the way up here. But I don't think that this bricks is going to be enough to supply Castle Vecchio. But we could, in theory, somehow connect the bricks here somewhere, maybe around this side of the farm or something. Maybe we can just run it down here and connect up here. I don't know, because then if we can run the bricks, I probably don't want to run it through there because that's busy. This is also busy. There's a lot of busy. So if we can run the bricks somehow up here, then maybe we might be able to supply a Castle Vecchio. I went around and double lined this whole loop, so this whole loop has now changed. So it's not really a loop. The oil trucks are now actually just coming straight down this way and going straight back again. They're not looping around. But I mean, you know, I can put a little bend in there so I can connect up. But the trick is connecting the bricks to kind of here, because this is a very busy little network here. Um, I have a lot of log trucks, and those log trucks still aren't even touching the sides because the demand is just so massive. So we might be able to get one bricks manufacturing enough bricks for everywhere, but it's kind of a work in progress. And if I can get that sorted, um, then we're already supplying this place. So what is it up to? So yeah, so it's getting its stuff and it's getting paid for, and that's all well and good. And then obviously we need to get the plastic down here, which should be relatively straightforward. We should be able to pull a line off here and a bridge and have this be delivered. And then we have the steel that needs to be delivered, which we can kind of pull a line off here, pull a line off the coffee somehow, and try and figure out how to do that perhaps. And then we've got goods, and once we've got the final goods being produced, everybody's getting what they want. And then we can talk about what optimization looks like, because it's starting to get, some of these platforms are starting to get pretty long. Some of the trains are starting to get pretty long. Some of these rail networks are starting to get lots of lines and get mightily congested. So then we're sort of saying to ourselves, well, how do we optimize transport from A to B for all of these things, and what that looks like. But that's a future thing, And the last thing I want to talk about before we disappear is that this high speed line. So I do want to run a high speed commuter line to Rizzo, and it'll be hard. I got a lot. I'd have to run an entirely separate line to Santa C. And if I'm running a separate line to Santa C, I don't necessarily have to. Um, I don't necessarily have to have it on the same side, right? I could take a line off here and bring it around the outside and send it over this way somehow, you know. And there's a lot of interlocking and moving parts that need to be sorted. Civitella might not be that hard. I can probably run a bus route out here, and I can have this as a high-speed line up here, and we could put a passenger link somewhere over here, somewhere in here somehow. Um, that I'd be okay with that. So maybe the Rizzo high speed line connecting Uzano and Rizzo would be fine, and the Civitella and Santa Caesarea high speed line would be fine for the commuters. Um, but not sure about the rest. The high speed line that's here, the Uzano people. I'm not really running it at super high speed. I'm running it at 120. So we've got these. Oh, and they're both in bad condition. I'm running them at 120. So let's replace that with something in good condition. Is it going to like it? It isn't going to like it. That whole train needs replaced. So we need two of these carriages. I think we were running. Oh no, I think my carriages have gone. I think my carriages have gone. So I've either got this one, yeah, 363s, right? Okay, well, there you go. I suppose they both need doing, do they? Let's do that, and these carriages. So they're not really filling up. That one has 9, and I think this one has more. Yeah, so it's a one-way journey. So it seems to be that more people want to go from Uzano to Castelvecchio, which I don't really know why, because Uzano is bigger. But there you go. More people want to go to Castelvecchio. Um, so it's not super profitable. Um, even with, so although these commuter lines are running, um, Maybe we'll get more money out of a Rizzo to Uzano one because of the distance, and maybe the same for Civitella to Santa Caesarea, although they look sort of the same distance to Uzano and Castelvecchio, if you ask me. Um, so, not sure. We'll carry on with that. We'll see how that goes. The ferry line's doing okay. Ferry line's doing fine. There's people. There's my hovercraft. Got 5 people going down. Is this going up? 20 going up. So not a big surprise that the flow is from Rizzo to Santa Caesarea, I suppose. I keep putting buses on here. There's just so many people. So many people. Um, so many people here at the ferry bus stop, which is great. That's what it's there for. So there you go. So there's things to do, things to do, things to do. We're nearly at being able to complete the demands. I mean, like I say, if you have a look at Uzano now, look at the size of these buildings. They're really, really getting into massive American style skyscrapers. Like what are we talking about here? The equivalent of like 60, 70 floors or something like that, maybe more. So, there's massive growth going on. They haven't really branched out yet. These guys are starting to fill out, which is fine. Like I said, one of the things this was for me to try and find out how far these houses will go. They're still trying to build over here, which is a significant nuisance because I don't want them to. I wanted to play around with these road layouts to see if there's a way to stop them A, connecting, and B, building. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I will have a look. This is growing quite well, which is also fine. So yeah, so there we go. They're growing, they're getting bigger. We're meeting more and more of the demands to see how far and far we can essentially go. And somewhere along the line, I've got to throw in a little bit of detailing here and a little bit of detailing there when I get the time. So there you go. I'm gonna call it here for this one. Yeah, it's been challenging. There's been quite a bit going on. The last few episodes soaked up quite a lot of time building, detailing, doing some of these unique things like the industrial park and the various other bits and pieces. We've got so much infrastructure laid now. A lot of it is connecting things up. And then, like I said, once we've got things connected up, we need to have a look at is there any way that we can standardize some of these networks, make some of them work a little bit smarter for us, remove some of the bottlenecks, and will a hub work on this map? Will several transport hubs work on this map? So instead of thinking about one central hub, we could have one hub on one side of the lake, one hub on the other. How would we do that? How do we make things standardized? How do we clear up some of these jams and things? And is there any way to make it a little bit neater somehow along the way and reduce emissions? So I do hope you're enjoying it. It is proving to be enjoyable and challenging from my perspective, which is pretty good. And if you are, do click that like button. Do subscribe to the channel. Do click the bell notification so you know when the next one is coming out. Feel free to drop me a line, ask me a question, drop a hint, tip, trick of your own, and I will see you all again real soon. Ta-ta for now.